right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Seattle Pandemic Shutdown Day 69, I believe, by my count. We're a little bit ahead of the rest of the country because some of the first domestic cases were here. So if you're not on day 69, that's fine. We're a little bit ahead of you because it came in from China kind of here and then also worked its way around the world the other direction, like to New York City and whatnot. So I don't know what I got for you today, man. I mean, like, Elon Musk is trying to open up factories. General Flynn was pardoned, maybe, kinda-ish. New York City is a pile of corpses. These stay-at-home orders are potentially unconstitutional, and there's a whole bunch of lawsuits are just gonna explode after this whole thing. I mean, if there's really an after, it's just gonna be a steady increase of various lawsuits against various localities around the country for their unconstitutional and somewhat idiotic responses to the pandemic. The paddle border. The paddle border was the tip of the iceberg. Now you've got, You've got people getting arrested for going to the beach. Down in LA, they put fences across the jogging paths, so then people jogged around the paths on the beach. It's just idiotic nonsense. Filling in the skate park with sand, and then BMXers came in with bikes and just took over and started riding around on it. There's things you simply can't stop, and you shouldn't try to because they're not a problem. The South Africans going and surfing. There's no problem with going to the beach, carrying your surfboard from your car to the ocean, and then paddling out and going swimming. There's nothing wrong with that, as far as I can tell. So it's the same thing with all kinds of other things. So Washington State, Governor Inslee, I'm trying to not harsh on him too bad because this is a really hard problem. But they announced basically dossiers on restaurants is what it sounds like. The contact tracing is what they're trying to do. So if you go to a restaurant, if the restaurant opens and you go to it, they have to keep a log of who ate there and when. Now, I don't know if people have ever worked in restaurants before, but it's like an 18-hour-a-day operation to run a restaurant, if not a 24/7 operation to run a restaurant. Dishwashers, supply, prep, wait staff, line cooks, dishwashers, cleanup, maintenance, all these things. You have to build a log of every customer who went to every restaurant. That is adding extra work that is going to impact their workflow is going to impact their business. And I can't imagine that there will be no restaurants that just say no to this. They're just I'm going to open, I'm going to do what I did before. So, last Saturday, I went to one of my favorite restaurants in the whole world, Umi Sake House down in Belltown. One of my favorite places. I've taken so many people there. I've converted people to liking sushi there. It's wonderful. We ordered curbside pickup. Well, it wasn't curbside. I went inside the foyer, if I'm sounding fancy, and I picked up my order. Now, by the way, traffic is a little sparser today. I just noticed that. I went in and I sat down in the foyer, and probably 7, 8, 9 other people came and picked up orders. Now, we didn't do contact tracing on them and that employee and me, even though we were all in the same room together. So it doesn't make any sense that we're going to contact. This is what I covered yesterday's video. Like, contact tracing doesn't make sense at this point. Like, at this point, way too many people have been exposed for contact tracing to be relevant at all, or to be useful, like to even be practical. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how it seems to me. Like, way too many people have been exposed to each other in all kinds of situations, like the grocery store of all places. Never mind small businesses, salons, restaurants, etc. It just seems asinine. It just seems like a weird focus of attention, given everything that's happened. Restaurants and stuff, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, restaurants should be able to use their liquor license to sell alcohol to people, for sure. People should be able to go do curbside pickup at bars and restaurants, and presumably it's going to be cheaper than it would have been if you were being served by people. Like, they can maintain some kind of business model while still serving people, and customer loyalty is what's being tested here now-ish. Something like that. I don't know, man. I want people to support local businesses, but it is an issue for people to gather in large numbers in close proximity. Like, that is an issue for, again, like the R-Not. Like, that is an issue, but everyone has kind of gotten the message and changed their behavior since this thing started. So, keeping a log of all your customers, I just don't think it's not practical. I don't think it's workable. And if that's the criteria, what's going to happen is something like how, and I know how this might sound, health inspections work. I worked at some restaurants that did some very questionable practices when it comes to health and safety. But as long as the state inspector wasn't there, you got away with it and it was fine. So something like, oh yeah, our logs are up to date. Yeah, they're fine. Until someone comes and actually checks and does like an audit of your books. The state isn't gonna possibly know who's actually effectively contact tracing and not. And when it comes to new cases, how are you gonna dial it back to, or focus in on, they went to this restaurant, that's how we know that they got it. Again, at this point, did they go to the grocery store? Did they go anywhere? Like, did they go outside? Did they go outside? Right? Like, it just doesn't seem workable to me. But again, I'm not an epidemiologist. I've just played a lot of Plague Inc. So, I don't know. I guess that's enough for me for one day. Remember, I go out so you don't have to. Bye.